And the federal government has ordered an investigation into the crash. President Buhari has expressed sympathy over the accident, calling it sad and depressing. President-elect Bola Tinubu and the runner-up in the presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, have also commiserated with the families of the victims.
A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the electoral body, INEC, to allow two plaintiffs with temporary voter cards to vote in the governorship and state houses of assembly elections. The court approved that the two plaintiffs be allowed to use the temporary cards issued to them by INEC because they had no permanent voter cards. Now, the court said the order was made because the plaintiffs were duly registered and captured in INEC's database. But Justice Iguatu said he could not grant other prayers to allow every eligible voter with a temporary card to vote because the lawsuit was not filed in a representative capacity. INEC has repeatedly insisted that only those with permanent voter cards would be allowed to vote in the presidential, governorship and parliamentary elections.
INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, joins us now. Festus Okoye, thanks for your time. Now, this is the time Nigerians will need clarity on a number of issues. First, let's break it down, perhaps by starting to ask you why you asked for the reconfiguration of BVAS.
Well, we asked for the reconfiguration of the BVAS because the BVAS is programmed according to election type. It is also programmed in relation to the date when elections is taking place. So for the conduct of the governorship and state assembly election, we need to reprogram the BVAS so that it will read on the day the election is supposed to take place, and then the BVAS will be activated at a particular time and it will shut down at a particular time. So that is why we asked for time to reconfigure the BVAS so that it can work in relation to the election type and also on the date of the election and the timing for the election.
And well, another question that's been asked is exactly, what INEC's reaction is to the court ruling, and will INEC abide by that court ruling? And exactly what is INEC going to configure with this BVAS?
Well, for instance, before the presidential and national assembly election, we configured the BVAS by downloading the data of each registered voter in accordance with the delimitation details of the particular polling unit and also the number of voters that registered in a particular polling unit. And then we also configured it for the particular election type and also for the particular day the election will take place. And the time post is supposed to open and the time post is supposed to close. Now we are done with the national and state assembly, the presidential and state assembly election. Now we need to reconfigure it or reset the BVAS so that we can reset it in accordance with governorship election and also in accordance with the state assembly election, and also reset it in such a way that it will also recognize the fact that we are going to have a governorship election on the 18th day of March 2023, and also reconfigure it so that it will recognize the fact that polls will open at 8:30 on that same day, and then it will be reconfigured in such a way that it will shut down at a particular time on the same election day.
I asked also your reaction to the court okaying the use of temporary voter cards, since according to the court, it does not flout any constitution, whether it's the 1999 constitution or even the Electoral Act.
Well, I have not seen the judgment in question, but I know that before the conduct of the presidential and national assembly election, there were multiple cases that were filed in court relating to the issue of the permanent voters card, relating to the issue of temporary voters cards. I have not seen the judgment, but all I know is that reading the law, the Electoral Act 2022 makes it very clear that the proprietary right in the voter's card resides with the Independent National Electoral Commission, and it is the Independent National Electoral Commission that has the right to print, they has the right to issue, and also the right to determine the type of a card that will be used for the conduct of elections. And the law is also very, very clear that before any voter can vote, the person must approach the court, approach the polling unit, or approach the presiding officer with his or her permanent voter's card before the person will be allowed to vote. But I don't want to comment on a judgment that I have not seen. But all I know is that the law is very, very clear that it is only the Independent National Electoral Commission that determines what is a permanent voter's card, and that the proprietary right in the voter's card resides with the Independent National Electoral Commission.
How can you assure the public that the information in the BVAS won't be compromised?
Well, there's no way the information on the BVAS will be compromised. Now, there are two things involved in the reconfiguration of the BVAS. The first is that before the BVAS can be reconfigured, the entire data on a particular BVAS has to be pushed to the accreditation back end. If you don't push the entire information to the accreditation back end, the BVAS will not open itself for reconfiguration. That is one. Secondly, the data of each registered voter is also already resident in the BVAS. So the only thing the Commission wants to do with the BVAS in terms of reconfiguration is just to set the BVAS for it to recognize the type of election we intend to conduct. We have 28 governorship elections and 993 state assembly elections. Then we have to also reconfigure the BVAS to the election day and the election date, being the 18th day of March 2023. And we have to also configure it in such a way that it will know that it's supposed to give access at a particular time and also deny access at a particular time. So every data resident in the BVAS, before it is configured, will be pushed to the accreditation back end. If you don't push it to the accreditation back end, it will not allow the BVAS to be configured, or reconfigured rather.
I know, Mr. Okoye, how has INEC handled the criticism that has come on the back of the presidential election? Perhaps maybe this is one of the reasons you are asking for a reconfiguration.
Well, some of the criticisms are legitimate. The Commission has learned valuable lessons from what happened during the presidential and national assembly election. We are not puritanical about anything. When mistakes are made, we acknowledge mistakes that are made. When we need to learn lessons, we learn valuable lessons, and also we make amends. We continue to improve with every election, and I'm confident that the lessons learned from the conduct of the presidential and national assembly elections will also impact on the type of things we do and the things we do differently with the governorship and national assembly, governorship and state assembly elections. We lost valuable time because of the case in court. The moment we were served with the court order, we had to halt the reconfiguration of the BVAS, and we lost almost 5 days. Now, we believe that we need at least 5 days to complete the reconfiguration. For some states that don't have big polling units, we may just need 3 days. But for a place like Kano, Kano State has a total of 11,222 polling units. We need additional time to reconfigure the BVAS in Kano State. And Lagos State has a total of 13,325 polling units. So we need additional hands. So I'm confident that by Tuesday next week, we should be in a position to have reconfigured all the BVAS and then begin on Wednesday to move some of the sensitive materials between Wednesday and Thursday to move the sensitive materials to the various local government offices of the Commission in readiness for the conduct of the election.
Are you guaranteeing that the mistakes that were made during the presidential elections will not happen again for the governorship when the when the people go to the polls on March 18? And would it be safe, really, to say that INEC actually disenfranchised many Nigerians simply because they had only the temporary voter cards and not the permanent one, in spite of the fact that, you know, the data was provided by INEC. And based on this court ruling, would you go ahead and allow other Nigerians with temporary voter cards to vote?
Well, let me just say that, as I pointed out, we have learned valuable lessons from the conduct of the presidential and national assembly elections. Technology was not the only challenge the commission had during the presidential and national assembly election. We also had challenge of logistics. So in some of the places where polls did not open early, and also in some of the places where transporters disappointed us, we have strengthened out some of those issues. As you know, there are some local governments and some states where we have security challenges. In some of those places, some of the transporters turned around and refused to abide by the contract they signed, and rather wanted to renegotiate the contract at the last moment. And then there were also some places where some of the ad hoc staff backed out at the last moment on grounds of security challenges. So we have strengthened out some of these issues. We are working closely with the various communities. We are working closely with the various stakeholders, and also with the security agencies to make sure that some of the mistakes and some of the challenges encountered during the previous election do not occur again. On the issue of whether we should allow... hello, yeah.
Okay, quickly here. Is there any truth to the often reported claim of attempted hacking of INEC website or portal?
Well, I will not attempt to dive into technical issues that I don't have a very clear knowledge of. All I know is that what happened during the presidential and national assembly elections relates to technical glitches on our own portal, on our own system. But whether there have been attempts to hack into the systems of the commission, I don't have knowledge of in that area, and I don't have information relating to that.
All right.
I'd like to thank you for your time, Festus Okoye.